Namaste. Welcome to today's new moon Hatha yoga practice. For today, you'll want to have 2 blocks, a strap, and maybe even a folded blanket to start sitting on so that you can just be comfortable, letting the legs come out in front of you. So find your own sukhasana or comfortable seat. So the new moon is an opportune time if you are attuning with nature and harmonizing with her to set intentions for what you would like to focus on and cultivate in your life, in any aspect of your life, in the weeks to come in this new lunar cycle. So keep that in mind, and I'd like to share an excerpt from the book by Pema Chodron, The Places That Scare You, specifically one about equanimity. You might remember that it's translated as evenness of mind. And I've talked in the past about how yoga philosophy explains that some of the root causes of suffering stemming from the mind are when we're too busy chasing after what we think will give us pleasure, or the opposite, the pendulum swing of too busy trying to resist what we think will cause us displeasure or what we dislike. So it creates this emotional roller coaster. So one practice that can be helpful is equanimity. And here's what Pema Chodron says about it. When we have a feeling of spaciousness and ease that's not caught up in preference or prejudice, this is equanimity. In practicing equanimity, we train in widening our circle of understanding and compassion to include the good and the bad, the beautiful and the ugly. However, limitless equanimity, free of any prejudice at all, is not the same as ultimate harmony, where everything is finally smooth. It is more a matter of being fully engaged with whatever comes to our door. We could call it being completely alive. Training in equanimity requires that we leave behind some baggage. The comfort of rejecting whole parts of our experience, for example, and the security of welcoming only what is pleasant. The courage to continue with this unfolding process comes from self-compassion and from giving ourselves plenty of time. So notice how equanimity, cultivating this inner balance, and we'll practice more of it as we're moving the body, but especially as we're in meditation in the end, can offer you some support towards your new moon intention today. Let's take a moment to check in. As you're sitting still and maybe closing the eyes, begin to notice any sensations in your body. Notice any tendencies of the mind to judge any sensations as good or bad. So come into that equanimity practice of allowing any sensations to be just neutral information, helping you to know how to adjust your physical practice today. Now start to sense your energy by feeling the waves of the natural breath, just as they are. Sensing if your energy feels high, intense, or low and soft, or any other way you might experience it. Now observe your mind. Sensing the energy of your mind. Does it feel like it's going all over the place right now? Does it feel very still and settled into the present moment? And once again, practicing equanimity with this information. And then notice how you feel at the heart. Is there any emotion really alive right now that you could hold space for with compassion. Slowing the breath down, filling up slowly with an inhale. Exhaling gently all the way out. Even slower, inhaling through your nose, pressing downward into the earth with your body. Exhaling just as slowly out through the lips, lifting upward towards the sky through your crown. Continue to deepen your breath and call to mind anything right now that you can appreciate. Awakening your heart of gratitude is powerful in then stating your intention for this full moon practice. And then let's broaden the scope of who this practice benefits. I invite you to choose someone or a community or cause that you would like to offer up your practice to today, making a dedication of it. And with that, let's join our voices together to create resonance, chanting Om 3 times. Let's begin the practice of Ujjayi Pranayama, which means victorious breathing. It's a way to regulate our breath, to regulate our energy, minds and bodies to a state of focus and calm. It's done by closing your lips and softly narrowing the back of your throat to create a very gentle and smooth whispering sound as you slow the breath down evenly in and out through your nose. So sense that right now, or listen to your breathing. Taking the time to feel the very top of the inhalation without straining, and the very bottom of the exhalation, creating a feeling of balance. Now try to keep that same slow and gently audible rhythm of breath going as we begin to move the body and throughout much of our physical yoga practice. We'll use it as a way to anchor the mind, helping us to tune into the present. So start to make your way down to your stomach, all the way down to the floor. Our focus today is going to be opening up the front of the shoulders some more like last week, but this time we're going to specifically use shoulders in extension. So as you're lying on your stomach, take your block and place it just to the right side of your head on the floor. With your left fingertips on the ground, just beside your left shoulder, straighten your right arm out to the right, palm face down, and begin to press the ground away with your left hand, slowly turning over onto your right outer hip as you rest the right side of your head onto the block. Now pause a moment and scoot the right shoulder blade further down your back. So open up the right side of your neck, and then just notice the sensations around the front of your right shoulder. So the further you lean back, in which you might even step the left foot outside of the mat behind you, you might even wrap the left arm behind you, the more intense you'll feel this opening. But we're not going for 100% or more intense. Just gently beginning to open up the right collarbone from the sternum, allowing another 4 or 5 deep Ujjayi breaths here. So this drawing back of the shoulder head is what's called shoulders in extension. Keep the breath going. I'm just going to turn on the music. Stay right where you are. When you're ready, gently begin to roll onto your belly. And let's transfer that block, or take the second block and place it just to the left side of your skull. Plant the right fingertips on the ground beside your right shoulder and slide your left arm wide to the left, palm face down. Begin to gently turn over onto your left outer hip, and then pause a moment so that you can slide the left shoulder head away from your left ear. And breath by breath, pay attention to any sensations around the front of your left shoulder, letting you know how far back to lean. Or maybe even experiment wrapping the right arm behind you. Listen to about 4 or 5 more deep breaths here. Here in Los Angeles, in the middle of summer, we're up to the 90s, some of us even in the hundreds Fahrenheit. So we're starting our practice peacefully. We're going to start to warm up in a moment. This isn't a yin class, but just gently beginning our physical movements. Take your time to turn over onto your stomach. Press your hands on the ground beside your floating ribs, and take your time stepping back into downward facing dog. Lifting your hips high and back. Feel free to move your body any way you might need to loosen up gently here for the first few breaths. Pedaling your feet in place, shaking and nodding your head. Flatten the palms on the earth with your thumbs stretching towards each other and your index fingers reaching forward or slightly turned out. Soften your neck as you drop your skull freely. Steady your gaze, your drishti, on one spot. Let the movement dissolve as you arrive at stillness for another 2 deep breaths. Listen in. After the next exhalation, walk to the front of your mat, arriving in a standing forward fold. Separate your feet hips distance, parallel to each other, and bend your knees. Reach the hands behind you to clasp, bringing both shoulders into extension. As you inhale, lift your chest and lengthen your spine forward while drawing the shoulder heads back. Keep your hands together and exhale, hinge forward from the hips and completely relax your neck. Spending a few breaths stretching the arms further away from your lower back. Lift the shoulder bones up and away from your neck. Listen to the sound of your breathing here. Then drop your arms and bend your knees even more. Inhale, slowly roll your spine upright, very slowly, as if you're stacking one vertebra at a time. When you arrive at standing, rotate the shoulders behind you and exhale, soften them down. Mountain pose, Tadasana. Let's join the hands in prayer in mountain pose at the heart, Padasana. Center in on your theme for this new moon, your intention for today's practice. And let's offer gratitude to the sun and the moon as we begin sun salutation C, moving to the breath. Inhale, sweep your arms forward and gently coil your chest up. Exhale, bow forward over your legs. Place your fingertips on the ground. Inhale, step the left knee behind you. Kneeling lunge, look up. As you hold your breath, step into plank pose, top of a push-up. Exhale, slowly lower your knees, chest, then chin in Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward, entering Cobra pose. Lightly coil your chest up. Exhale, tuck your toes, lift your hips back to downward facing dog. Inhale, step your left foot forward beside your left thumb. Lower your right knee, gaze up. Exhale, step your right foot forward and bow. Inhale, rise to the top, gently lifting your heart towards the moon and sun. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, trace your palms in prayer from your crown, third eye, throat to heart center. One more Surya Namaskar C. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, bow forward, Uttanasana. Plant your fingertips down. Inhale, step your right knee back into Anjaneyasana, gazing up. Hold your breath as you step to plank. Exhale, lower knees, chest, chin, Ashtangasana. Inhale, slide forward into Bhujangasana, Cobra pose. Exhale, lift the hips to Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward dog. Inhale, step your right foot beside your right thumb. Left knee down, gaze up. Exhale, step your left foot forward and bow. Inhale, root down to rise up. Exhale, marry your palms together at your heart. Let's move into Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana, gaze up. Exhale, fold over your legs in Uttanasana. This time, press your fingertips on shins, blocks or the ground, and lengthen forward to Ardha Uttanasana, half forward fold. Step into your version of plank pose. Pause for 3 breaths, stacking the shoulders over the wrists, engage the belly, and lengthen through the back of the neck. You can place your knees down on the floor if you need more support. Exhale, shift forward. Bend your elbows to 90 degrees, hugging your ribs in Chaturanga Dandasana. Choose to lower to Cobra from here or flip the toes and inhale to upward facing dog. Exhale to Adho Mukha Svanasana. I invite you to still your body this time. Steady your gaze for 3 even breaths. When you finish the 3rd exhalation, walk or lightly jump to the front of your mat in Uttanasana. Inhale to Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, rise up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, hands to the heart, Padasana. One more time, same Surya Namaskar A. Inhale, Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Let your breathing lead. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step back to plank. Exhale, forward and through Chaturanga Dandasana. This is your vinyasa. Inhale, Cobra or upward facing dog. Exhale, downward facing dog. Pause here. Recalibrate the breath 3 cycles. Now from here, step your feet together in downward facing dog and inhale, raise your right leg behind you. As you exhale, softly as you can, step the foot forward between your hands, spin the left heel down. Align your right heel to the arch of your left foot and inhale, cartwheel the arms. And let's prepare for peaceful warrior. Bending the right knee just above the right ankle. Lift your spine and flip the right palm to face up. Side bend towards your rear wall and wrap your left arm behind your back. You might be able to catch hold of the top of your right thigh. Now make sure your right knee is not buckling to the left here. Keep tracing the midline of your mat with it. Shoulders relax down. Seal in the bottom of your front ribs and land your eyes somewhere you can look while relaxing your neck. 3 more breaths. So with your left arm behind you, your left shoulder is an extension. Warrior two, open up the arms and steady your gaze just past the right hand. Stack your shoulders right above your hips and reach long through your arms and fingertips. Bringing all the fingers of each hand touching each other to create a strong, focused energy. Virabhadrasana 2. One more deep breath. And as you exhale, cartwheel your hands to downward facing dog. Bring the feet together to touch there. Pause for a cycle of breath. Inhale, raise your left leg behind you. Exhale, gently land the foot right between your hands. Spin the right heel down. Align left heel to the arch of the right foot. Then cartwheel your arms to rise up. Let's prepare for Peaceful Warrior. Bend your left knee just above your left ankle. Wrap the right arm behind you. Maybe catch hold of the top of the left thigh. And then lift your spine. Flip your left palm to face up and side bend towards your rear wall. Soften your front bottom ribs towards your pubic bone and let the shoulders relax. Sense the breath expanding into your left side body. 3 more breaths. On your exhalation this time, unwind to Warrior 2. Let's take a moment in Warrior 2. Steady your gaze just past your left fingertips and tune into 5 deep breaths here. On your next exhale, step your right foot to the top of your mat and come to stand in mountain pose. All right, let's prepare for Sun Salutation B, a couple of rounds, continuous flow. Start in Padasana, hands in prayer at your heart, and reconnect to your intention again. Flowing to the breath, with feet touching each other, inhale, bend your knees to touch each other, sit back towards your heels in chair pose. Raise your arms, relax the shoulders down. Exhale, shift your weight forward, Uttanasana. Press with your hands, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank, flow through your vinyasa, or float to Chaturanga and do it. Take it on your own to Downward Dog. When you arrive there, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your right thumb so it's off to the right, spin the left heel down, hips facing forward, inhale, rise to Warrior 1. Exhale all the way down, continue into your vinyasa. Notice the sound of your breath. Side 2, inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, gently step the foot beside your left thumb, spin the right heel down. Inhale, rise to Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Once again, let's cultivate stillness in Downward Dog for 3 slow breaths. When you finish the third, walk or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana, chair pose. Exhale, Padasana, mountain. Last, Surya Namaskar B. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Step to plank or float to Chaturanga. Take it to your vinyasa. When you're ready to, inhale, raise your right leg. Follow your own breath pace. Exhale the foot beside right thumb, left heel down. Inhale, Virabhadrasana 1. Exhale, lower into your vinyasa. Continue to the left side on your own. Three breaths in downward dog. Slowing it down. Checking in. What are you feeling right now in this moment? What are you sensing in your mind? How are you practicing equanimity by cultivating a neutral witness of what's coming and going? When you're ready to, walk or float to the top of your mat. Inhale, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, Uttanasana. Inhale, Utkatasana. Exhale, Padasana. Couple deep breaths here. Notice the sensations in your body right now. Feel your energy at this point of your practice. On an inhale, sweep the arms up to Urdhva Hastasana. Exhale, fold, Uttanasana. Separate your feet hips distance parallel here. And bend your knees if you need to slip your palms face up under the soles of your feet in Pada Hastasana. Stretching your outer wrists. Bite your toes beneath the inner creases of your wrists. And inhale, shift your weight forward and lengthen top of your head forward. Draw the shoulders back. Exhale, hinge from your hips. Relax the neck fully. Lift the shoulders away from the neck, maybe by bending the elbows apart. You might find some relief in any neck stiffness by gently shaking the head, nodding the head a few times, or jaw tension by fluttering the lips, or excess heat release by exhaling with a mouth wide, tongue out, lion's breath. Couple more breaths here. We're balancing out the fire in our practice, the little cool, little lunar yin. And then please make your way into downward facing dog. If you would like, take a vinyasa on your way there, or step back on hands and knees and move through a couple of cat-cows, Vidalasana. When you do arrive at Adho Mukha Svanasana, inhale, raise your right leg behind you. And exhale, step the foot beside your right thumb, spin the left heel down, warrior one. So let's stay a little longer. As your feet are about hips width apart sideways, bend your right knee directly above the heel and draw your right thigh bone back into the hip socket. At the same time, straighten your left leg entirely. Press your left outer heel into the ground and spin your left outer hip forward. Now lift your frontal hip bones, direct the tailbone down, and lengthen all the way up through the back of your skull. Let's add on into devotional or humble warrior. Backstroke your arms and interlace your fingers. If that's challenging to do, grab a strap to hold between the hands so you have space between them. Roll the shoulders down, breathe in, broaden the chest up towards the sky. Now firming in the belly, keep your hips both evenly facing forward and start to bow forward, either resting on your right thigh or as you continue squaring the hips, lowering your head to the inside of your right ankle. Gonna be here for about 5 breaths, so keep stretching the arms forward, away from your lower back, bringing both shoulders into extension, and relaxing your neck and jaw as you breathe deeply. Lift the shoulder bones away from the neck. Feel the weight of your left foot helping to ground you as you scissor the right hip back. Inhale slowly. Lift your torso diagonally, hovering the belly off the right thigh. Keep your hands like this, clasped behind, or join your hands in prayer or reach for blocks, warrior 3. As you shift your weight forward, tilt the torso forward just to have it parallel to the floor, then flex your left foot off the ground. Draw the right hip back. Rotate the left outer hip towards the floor. And firm in the belly, lengthen the top of your head forward, shoulders back. Virabhadrasana 3. Tune into the breath. Slowly step the ball of your left foot behind you. Use your right hand to cup the top of your right thigh. Keep your hips squared, raise the left arm up. Let's prepare for a twist. Inhale, lengthen your spine forward. Exhale across your waistline, twist to the right. You can either lower your left hand on a block or the floor on the inside of your front leg and raise the right arm, or hook the left elbow outside of your right thigh, where you might join the hands in prayer or open the arms apart or bind. Then be mindful to keep your right hip as low as your left hip. Firm your inner left heel back and keep lengthening the top of your head forward, shoulder blades down the back, not twisting at the hips, but twisting at the waistline, rotating the rib cage. And if you have your right arm straight up, you could also extend it overhead, spinning the tricep to face the right wall and down. 3 more deep breaths. This is a version of Parita Parshvakonasana, twisting side angle pose. Gaze down at your right foot, frame it with both hands, and lower your left knee to the ground, directly under the left hip. Half split, lift the ball of your right foot flexed, and start to straighten your right leg to the degree you comfortably can by drawing the right hip back while extending your chest forward. Slide the shoulders down the back. Ardha Hanumanasana. Listen into 4 more deep breaths here as you explore the range of your forward fold. Start to plant the hands, step back to downward facing duck. Pausing there, couple of deep breaths. Sensing anything there is to notice within you right now. I mentioned those clashes of aversion, trying to resist what we dislike, and the other, which is chasing after what we think is pleasant. Just notice, is there a tendency in any of those directions during your physical practice? No judgment, just increasing awareness to increase freedom of choice. Inhale, raise your left leg back. Exhale, softly step the foot beside your left thumb, spin your right heel down, warrior 1, inhale to rise. So as you're bending left knee right above the heel, draw your left outer hip back. As you're straightening your right leg, press your right outer heel down and rotate your right outer hip forward. Lift your frontal hip bones slightly towards your lowest front ribs and trace your awareness from your tailbone all the way up to your crown. How is your breathing here? Keeping a calm, even flow to your breath. Backstroke your arms and switch the interlacing of your thumb and index finger on top, or hold a strap between the hands. Devotional or humble warrior. Drop the shoulders, lift the heart. Take your time bowing forward. resting on your left thigh or dropping the head on the inside of the leg. Press firmly to your right foot. Feel its anchoring support. As you drop your head and relax your neck, stretch the arms forward away from your lower back while lifting the shoulders away from your neck. Tune into about 4 more deep breaths here. Now start to lift the torso just diagonally forward, hovering over your left thigh. Virabhadrasana 3, choose to have the hands clasp or join the hands in prayer at your heart, or reach for some blocks on the floor. Lean forward until you create a horizontal line out of the midline of your body as you flex the right foot, square both hips to evenly face the floor, then lift the belly towards the spine. Tune into another 4 deep breaths. Warrior 3. Slowly step the ball of your right foot back to crescent lunge, arms up. Keep your breath slow and even. Let's prepare for a twist. Cup the top of the left thigh with your left hand. And inhale, lengthen your spine forward as you press the instep of your right foot back. Exhale, twist to the left, either lower the right hand inside of the leg on a block of the floor, or hook the elbow outside of the thigh. Try to go for the same version of the posture you practiced on the first side. Maybe left arm overhead. Tune into another 5 deep breaths as you explore the range of your twist while keeping your hips hugging your midline. Shoulders relaxed away from the neck. Look at your left foot, frame it with both hands, maybe on blocks, and lower your right knee to the floor directly under your right hip. Half split, lift the ball of your left foot flexed, and begin to straighten the left leg by plugging the thigh bone back deeper into the hip socket, while you extend your chest forward, lengthening your spine. Breath by breath, hinging forward in Ardha Hanumanasana. This time, step your left knee behind you and let's prepare to open up the fronts of our hips and thighs in Supta Virasana, supine hero's pose. So first of all, check in with your body and how it may practice hero's pose. Are you able to sit comfortably directly on your calves like this? If not, grab a block and you can sit on it between the ankles like this. Otherwise, if you are sitting on the calves comfortably, you might be able to gently roll the calves aside and sit on the ground right between your ankles. Now, keep your knees safe, have them on the ground the entire posture, and no wider apart than hips distance, as well as make sure your toes are pointed back. You're not turned out or in. From here, seal in your front ribs, and to whatever degree you can for about 10 breaths, explore leaning back. Maybe you stay upright. Maybe you use your blocks to catch you behind or come down to your forearms. Sense if the mind is trying to reach, grasp for something or resist something. That's when you start to notice those kleshas coming into play, those root causes of suffering, which you can then come back to the breath and sense how the breath brings a feeling of steadiness of mind and evenness. There's nothing to grasp for. You are where you are. Being right here in the present moment. If you're leaning all the way back and your arms are free, you could hold opposite elbows overhead. Now, wherever you are in your range of motion, tune into another 10 deep breaths. Take your time, few breaths to begin rising up to sit. Let's eventually come all the way down to our bellies, lying face down on the floor, legs straight behind you. You might make a pillow out of your forearms to rest your forehead on. Pause for 3 breaths once you arrive there. Slide the knees close together. Notice any new sensations or any shifting sensations in your body. As you listen to calm, balanced breaths, let's prepare for our final active back bends. We'll start with 2 rounds of, we'll start with bound locust pose. Let's start right there. So keep your legs straight, press the tops of your feet flat into the ground. Keep them firmly pressing the ground as you actively stretch the legs back. And reach the hands behind you to clasp or hold a strap between the hands, resting your forehead on the floor. Keeping the feet down, breathe in and coil the chest up. Now lengthen the back of your neck by looking slightly down while you reach the knuckles of your hands back towards your heels. If your lower back feels okay with it, lift your feet off the floor as well. Keeping the feet parallel to each other, no wider than hips width apart. Now stay for another 5 full breaths if you can before dropping everything to rest. This is called Baddha Shalabhasana, bound locust pose. Try not to add any unneeded tension in the neck and shoulders and jaw. Shoulder blades down the back of the neck long, eyes soft, tongue soft. Breath full. Once you let it go, you might turn your head to one direction and pause in stillness for 3 deep breaths, observing your body. All right, our second of 3 last back bends is now bow pose, Dhanurasana. You could also opt to practice bound locust pose again. It's up to you. So if you're going to bow, slide your knees close together, rest your forehead on the floor, bend both knees, and reach back with your hands to catch. Outer feet is a good place to start. Inner feet might become more intense, or inner or outer ankles. If you're holding the ankles, flex your feet. Now press down with your pubic bone and kick your feet back while pulling your feet towards you, lifting the knees as you coil your chest up. Stay for 5 to 7 breaths in this pose. Help to keep your lower back safe by not splaying your knees wider than your hips distance apart. And also remember not to add any extra tension in your neck, shoulders, or face. Dhanurasana. When you've let it go, you might turn your head to the opposite direction, pausing again for 3 deep breaths, cultivating a neutral witness of what you are observing in your experience right now. Letting go of any duality thinking of judging things good, bad, right, or wrong, but just being in the aliveness of this moment. Please press your hands to the floor. Let's slide into child's pose, feet together. Sit back on your heels. Lengthen your torso forward, knees together or apart, arms wherever you choose. Just about 3 to 4 breaths here. We're just passing through. Actually, let's stay another 5 to 7 breaths. I just remembered we had a request for lower back release, so here's a great one for that. So for a more assertive lower back release, press your palms forward like you're reaching for something at the front of your mat. So the arms are straight while you're pulling the hips back and down towards the heels.
You can even slightly activate the belly to bring a stretch into the lower back. Now, try not to tense the neck and shoulders here. Draw the shoulder blades down the back. Lengthen the neck. Forehead is resting on the ground. Tune into another 4 breaths. And you might imagine breathing into your lower back. So you feel the inhale expand there. And as you exhale, relax the muscles there. And then slide your hands back alongside your knees. Inhale, roll your spine upright. We have one last active back bend, and that's bridge pose. So those of you looking for more stability for your lower back, take a block by the skinniest width, hug it firmly between knees and thighs. Separate your feet about hips distance or as wide apart as the knees are, and parallel your feet to each other. Lower onto your back with your knees bent, feet on the floor. And with your arms down by your sides, slide your feet back until you could almost touch your heels with your fingertips, but not quite. Now let's prepare. Reestablish a slow, even breath that you can hear. Ground firmly down through the 4 corners of each foot and the backs of your shoulders. Tilt your chin back away from the chest to open your throat, and prepare to lift your hips. Stay lifted for 10 breaths if you can. Slow, mindful breaths. So with the pelvis on the ground, those of you that are looking for lower back relief, keep the pelvis on the ground as long as you can while tilting the tailbone upward towards the block. And then when you can't keep the pelvis down anymore while tilting the tailbone up, then begin to stretch the front of your thighs forward actively while spinning your inner thighs slightly downward. And keeping your feet still. How's your breathing? Imagine, don't actually move the feet. Imagine the feeling of dragging the heels back towards your glutes. Walk your upper arms closer together under your back ribs. Keep your arms straight, not bending the elbows. If your hands touch, you might interlace the fingers. Breathe into your heart center. Keep the throat open, chin back, eyes relaxed. Full, spacious breaths, remembering that breath is a vehicle for circulating vital life force energy, especially throughout your body here. So long, even breaths. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana, bridge pose. When you're ready to come down, with a very slow exhalation, articulate lowering your spine 1 vertebra at a time, beginning with your upper back and ending with your tailbone. When you've completely lowered your pelvis, set the block aside, bend your right knee into your chest, and straighten your left leg forward on the ground. Let's prepare for a spinal twist. This is also releasing for the lower back. Scoot your pelvis another 3 to 5 inches towards the right edge of your mat. Open your right arm wide on the floor, and maybe gaze past the right shoulder, making sure it stays on the ground while you cross your right thigh to the left. Breathing in. Start to breathe out slower. If you're needing a deeper lower back release, place your left hand on your right outer hip, and as you exhale, press the right outer hip forward towards the front edge of your mat. Two more deep breaths. And start to roll onto your back when you're ready. Bring the pelvis to the midline of the mat. Bend the left knee into your chest. Slide your right leg forward. Then scoot your hips closer to the left edge of your mat and open your left arm on the ground. Gazing past the left shoulders, keep it on the ground as you twist slowly to your right. Maybe pressing your right hand on your left outer hip. The breath out, take a little longer than the breath in. Helping to more deeply calm your nervous system. About 3 more breaths here. As you're ready, unwind to your back and draw your bent knees into your chest, rocking in any direction to massage your back into the ground. Find the easiest way for you to rise to sit with your legs in front of you. And drop the knees open. Bring the soles of your feet together for Baddha Konasana, bound angle pose. This is another posture that helps to open up space and release tension in the lower back as well as the hips. If you're finding that your back tensed around, you might sit up on your folded blanket or blocks. Root down to your sitting bones, breathe in. As you exhale, extend your heart forward. A slight lift in your chest, bowing from your hips. About 5 long exhalations here. Bound angle pose. Walk the hands in closer to you and begin to lift from your chest first. Breathe in, slowly rise. Straighten both legs forward for Paschimottanasana. You may like to use a strap around the balls of your feet as an extension of your arms. Or walk your hands down the backs of the legs and begin with the arms up. Flex your feet, root your sitting bones firmly, and rise up tall through the spine, relaxing the shoulders. Breathe in. Seal in your bottom front ribs, keep your chest open, and start to fold from the hips, breath by breath. Paschimottanasana. Now breathe in, lift your chest again, come up halfway, peel the shoulders down your back. A slight lift in your chest and continue to fold just to your range of motion. Another 4 breaths. Long exhalations. Pressing down through your sitting bones, breathe in. Your heart rise slowly to sit. Now let's find a way to sit for pranayama, helping us to relax more deeply and tune inward for shavasana and meditation. Invite you into Urga Pranayama, or 3-part breathing, in which imagine that your torso is a jar. Bottom of the jar is your pelvic floor, top of the jar is the top of your neck. Then visualize dividing that jar into 3 cross sections. The first, or lowest, is from the belly button down all the way around. The second, or middle, encompasses most of your rib cage, and the third, or top, is up to your chest, neck, upper back, and shoulders. To delineate the first and third part, you might place a hand on your chest and a hand on your lower belly. Now here's how it goes. We're going to close the lips, maybe close the eyes too if you like, and we'll inhale 1/3 into the first section, pause, 1/3 into the second, pause, 1/3 into the top, pause. And we'll exhale really slowly through the nose, emptying all of it, and hold the breath out. That's 1 cycle. Let's practice 3 cycles together and 2 cycles on your own.
prepare to begin by emptying this breath. Inhale 1/3 into the first part of your torso. Pause. Inhale the second third into the middle. Pause. Inhale the last third into the top. Hold the breath and relax your body. Slowly through the nose, exhale everything. Hold the breath out. Second cycle, inhale first third. Pause. Inhale second. Pause. Inhale the top. Hold. Exhale everything. Hold. Last one together. Inhale the bottom. Pause. Inhale the middle. Pause. Inhale the top. Pause. Exhale slowly. Hold. Keep going. 2 more cycles on your own. When you finish, release, control the breath. As you breathe naturally, notice anything you're feeling, practicing equanimity with it. And start to lower your body all the way to the ground, lying down for Shavasana, corpse pose. Let your feet splay apart, wider than hips distance. You might turn the palms up by your sides as you draw the shoulders down. And close your eyes. You might have something you can cover your eyes gently with to help you to feel grounded. Be here for a few minutes before we start meditation. As you rest here a little longer with your eyes closed, come back to your body and observe any sensations, anything you can feel in your body right now. Gently begin to move small parts first, like your fingers, your toes. Graduate into larger parts, slowly stretching. And eventually turn over onto your right side and rest your head, bringing awareness to the breath as it naturally flows. The breath is a gateway to noticing your energy. So what do you feel there right now? And take your time rising up. Please find a comfortable way to sit tall, grounded, open and relaxed. Through practice tuning inward, you might bring your thumb and first fingers to touch, palms face up. Gyan Mudra helps to tune inward. You might also close your eyes and steady your inner gaze, your brows center towards the center of your brain. Let's begin our 5 minutes. The practice of cultivating an evenness of mind, letting go of grasping after thoughts or pleasurable sensations, letting go of resisting uncomfortable feelings, just allowing whatever is impermanent, which is all of that, to come and go as you observe with a feeling of spaciousness. A way to anchor yourself in the present moment is to rest your awareness on the sensations of the breath in one particular spot in your body. back to your body, sensing your mind and heart. Notice how you feel now mentally and emotionally. You might gently touch a hand at your heart center or join the hands there, acknowledging something, anything you appreciate right now. Let gratitude be your portal back to your intention, mentally saying again your personal prayer for this practice on this new moon. And remember to whom or what you dedicated today's practice. And together, let's close chanting 3 ohms. Oh. Oh. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.